Look at this beautiful view. This place where I'm living. Pretty nice, huh? It's the rules here. And this video is brought to you by Colt 45 Malt Liquor. It's gonna be a short video, by the way. The rules type of short video. Be ready. Eating some Euro meal. Like Euro rice and some vegetables. So let's get down to the main theme of the video. In one of my last videos I mentioned, I said that racism is natural. An American dude said that I should relax, I shouldn't take things too seriously, and that I'm talking shit. Like, problem of racism doesn't exist in the United States. And I don't agree with it. Here's the reason why, okay? Like, you know what is racism? Racism is discrimination, right? In modern world you're thinking, you know, you're racist if you hate blacks or Jews. And if you like say bad speeches about them, like discriminatory speeches. But let me tell you something, people are still being discriminated, just in different ways, okay? Like, for example, okay, you're a foreigner, you come to the United States, you get accustomed to doing things certain way, which is not necessarily American way. Like, you interact with people different, you have different customs, etc, etc. You come into America, if you don't know the language, it's hard for you, but even if you do, it's hard for you to get a job. Because you act like you used to act back in home, and just because of that, people want to only hire you as a like entry-level job, like low type position, like a janitor, a dishwasher, or something like that small. And they pay you only like $8 an hour. And no matter how intelligent you are, you still can get that. Or if you don't get discriminated because of jobs, it may be hard for you to make friends in the United States. Because, you know, like, United States is a country of immigrants, right? And people say, you know, you can't discriminate, but if you pay attention to the society, Chinese students, they mostly interact with Chinese students. Africans interact with Africans. People still like to interact with people who like them. Now, the United States is a country with like mostly like Western European dominant culture. And because of that, if you don't act Western European, you're gonna get discriminated. So now, in the United States, they're not gonna tell you that they're not gonna hire you because you're black or you're Russian or foreigner. But it's gonna imply that. Because you're not gonna get hired because you act certain way. So see, like certain look associated with certain act. So, and if you don't act American, you're gonna get discriminated. You're not gonna be discriminated directly because you're Russian or you're black or whatever you are. But you're gonna just be discriminated because you don't act American. So it's pretty much the same thing as a racism. It's just indirect kind of a racism, if that makes sense to you guys. So, and besides, even these days people don't like foreigners, like, you know, like Tiny Tim posted the joke, like the Jew, a black and a Mexican come to the bar and the bartender said, get the fuck out of here. And also to me as Russian, like, I don't find American shows very interesting, I don't watch TV, but even if I do, I find them stupid. I see they look at Americans like not very serious airheads. And it's my perception. And of course American people don't want to hire me for the job because I don't think highly of them. and they don't think very highly of me because we're different. So like you can be very intelligent, you can know like how to calculate things, how to do things, but if you don't act like people in the United States act, you're still gonna get discriminated. That's why I see the comments, Russian people say America is bullshit, and then I talk to Americans, they say, oh, you know, we don't like Africans because they always need something, they're annoying. And then other people don't like Asians because they are, you know, pretty loud and expressive, because in Western European culture people are very calm and polite, and if you scream and being loud and being rude, that's not very cool. So if you scream being loud, being rude, no matter how intelligent you are, they still gonna discriminate you. So the bottom line is, the racism in America exists and racism is natural. Another example of racism being natural, look at the view once again, it kind of gets darker and darker. But anyway, another example of racism being natural is that, you know, I even heard in American history, like I have a friend, he's a history major, he's Canadian, and he said that back in the 19th century, okay, there used to be discrimination against Irish and Italian. They used to come to the United States, and both Irish and Italian, they're white people, like they're not black, so why should you discriminate against white people? They're not black, it's not racism then. But see, because now people think, oh, you hate blacks, you're racist, but it's not about black and white, okay? We're not living here in a black and white world, okay? Racism not against black people or Asian people or Jewish people, it's just against people who are not like you. Because people, that's why I'm saying racism is natural, because people want to be with people who are like them. Like color of the skin, ethnicity, interest, all other things. Like for example, if you're Jew but you're interested in martial arts, German people who are interested in martial arts not discriminate against you even though you're Jewish and they're German. But if you don't have nothing in common, and they can see, oh, you look differently, you're Jew, you look differently, you're black, they're not gonna like you because of that, unless you have something else in common with these people of the group. So that's right, racism anyway. So that's why I'm saying racism is natural, because people discriminate on you based on your behavior, color of the skin, attitude, customs, whatever, and that has nothing to do with your knowledge. Like for example, in the job market, I believe that if you know ABCD, you should be hired, period. And how you act, who gives a shit? As long as you do ABCD, as long as you perform, you should get hired, period, if you know best. But that doesn't happen. Why? Because people may not hire you because of your behavior. And in my opinion, behavior doesn't matter. As long as you do ABCD, who gives a fuck? But behavior does matter, because people want to be with people who act like them. And that's racism right there. Because why you don't want to hire somebody who is different if that person knows better? But they still don't, because it's important how you act, not just what you know. And that's racist, okay? That's why I'm saying that Americans are racist, because they judge people on the way they act. Now, American people think that they are not racist because they don't kill people because they are black. But you know what? It's still racist. It just means that American people are more civilized. Why? Because, you know, like long ago, we used to have this, okay? We are white, you black, you're gonna kill you, right? Here now, it's mild. So we have social security, we have government support, we have welfare, all of that. So you can be an outcast and people still treat you as a subhuman, they not like you. They're not gonna say you're subhuman, they're gonna think that and they're gonna say that, because that's politically incorrect. But they still gonna treat you like that, meaning you're not gonna get a good job, you're gonna be still outcast. But because it's not a nation world, people not gonna kill you, they're not gonna beat you up, they're just not gonna be with you, you're just not gonna be part of the group. And yes, that's racist, but because people got more civilized, they just treat people differently. And they're not really penalizing, not beating you up because you're different. They still let you live. But if you're different, your quality of life still gonna be lower than of native people. And that's because America is a more civilized society. But they're still racist because they still discriminate. Because they still cannot get as good as a position as Native Americans like Western Europeans do. Because of where you're coming from. Or you cannot get friends. So you're still kind of handicapped being not from here. But you're just not handicapped as bad because you're not getting beaten up or killed because of it. And you still can live and eat and drink, of course, but you just cannot live as well as other people do. You still have your handicap being different from everybody else. And it doesn't matter what your difference is, whether it's mental or cultural or whatever it is. Mental, cultural, racial, whatever it is, but in fact that you're different, still gonna get discriminated. It's just because we're more civilized, discrimination is not as harsh. But to me it's still racism. So that's my video, that's my response for you assholes out there who say racism doesn't exist, and I say yes it does. It just exists in a more mild form. And people still can live and survive. They're just being discriminated by not having as many friends or not being able to get us a good job and being underemployed. Even though they're smarter than other people, they're still being discriminated just because of the way they act. Because they don't act Western European, aka American. Anyway, let me finish the meal and go to martial arts. All the best to you guys later.